Welcome to the next installment in my video lecture series in economics. And in this particular video lecture, I'm going to be taking a look at common resource problems and the problems associated with them, i.e. that there's no limiting factor. For example, let's say you have a lake and people can fish. There is a common resource that all individuals can use, the lake. They can all fish in the lake. And there's special issues associated with having this common resource. This is for my public finance course, and it relates to the problem of externalities. So here we have an example, and a couple of things I want to point out to you. We're just assuming the average cost of operating a boat is constant. For example, if there's an increase in the demand for the number of boats, it's not driving the price up. The only reason I'm making this simplification, it's a little easier for students to visualize in a graphical form. So realize that we just made an assumption that the cost of operating a boat is constant. It does not vary with the number of boats that are being purchased. And the first thing we're taking a look at here is the average return on a boat. And what you have to realize is that this is downward sloping. Okay? The reason being, as the number of boats increases, there's increased competition on that particular common resource. So as more and more boats are on this lake, the lake gets more and more crowded, and the number of fish caught by the boats decreases on average. All right, so let me give you an example. If you're the only person on the lake, you have full access to the entire lake. You can fish any portion of the lake that you want. If you start fishing a particular area of the lake and the fish are not quote unquote biting, you can move to another area where the fish might be and keep moving until you find what is called the sweet spot. But the more and more people that use that lake for fishing, as that number increases, the number of fish caught per boat is going to decline because you're competing with one another. When you're there by yourself, you can catch as much fish as possible. If we start adding additional boats, they are going to start catching fish, and they might catch fish that you otherwise would have caught. So the average return per boat is going to decrease with the number of boats that are on that particular lake. So if we have this average return on a boat declining, that means that the marginal social return is also declining. So let me give you an example. Let's say you're the only person on this boat and you can catch 100 fish in a day being the only person. If another person is going to fish that particular lake, there's going to be an increase in noise. The fish are going to be scared. They might be less likely to bite. Where the noise is, they'll have a tendency to move away from it. So let's say with two boats, now the total number of fish caught is 180. So that means that the average return is falling to 90 per boat. But also the marginal social return fell to 80. The marginal social return on the first boat was the 100. We had a second boat onto the lake, and total catch is equal to 180. That means the marginal return is 80 fish. So the first boat was responsible for 100. Now the second boat is only responsible for 80. And as we add more and more fish, that the fish per last boat that was brought onto the lake is declining. So we have a downward marginal social return curve, but it is beneath the average return on a boat. So the market equilibrium is going to be where the average return on a boat is equivalent to a cost of the boat here, QM, but the efficient or the optimal amount for society, a number of boats, is QE, where the marginal social return is equal to the marginal cost, or the cost per boat. So that's constant. We have a downward sloping marginal cost curve, marginal social return curve, and that intersects here at QE. So the difference between QM, the market amount, and QE, the efficient amount, that is the excess number of boats that are available because of the exploitation of this common resource. So realize that if you have a common resource, sometimes it's often referred to as the tragedy of the commons, where because you have a freely available resource, great many people will use that resource. And because of that, that is the amount that the market is setting based upon the average rate of return on a boat. That quantity number of boats is greater than the efficient amount, where we're setting the cost of the boat equal to the marginal social return on that boat.